Please join me as I turn these shameful crayons into born-again crayons with my special method. Crayons have a certain evil inside of them, and so you have to burn them down and melt them down and build again before you can let your kids use these ever. Whenever I see a big new good box of crayons, I'm like, oh my god, I need that. And that's my temptation, and that's the fault of the human flesh, because I don't need those crayons. Little kids, when they go shopping for new school supplies, they want the biggest box of crayons they can get. You have to melt them down and make them natural again so that they don't embody sin. You have got to unwrap these waxy little pillars of capitalism, melt them down and put them in plastic. The natural product you create is a slap in the face to the big companies, to big crayon, to big wax. And it tells them we are taking the means of production back. Please join me as I turn these bad crayons into good crayons by forcing them to become one. This crayon you see here is inherently evil. It's egotistical. And that's why you gotta chop them up, you gotta break them down, you gotta melt them down. I'm making it my mission to teach others this process because it's very important to me that everybody takes care of the crayons they have at home, because I feel like there's been a lot of coloring going on lately. When you get the wax hot, it takes away its original sin. It also releases a gas that some people in the comments has told me is toxic. But my homemade natural crayons bring me joy. It all feels very non-toxic to me in my heart, and at the end we get a good crayon with a very lovely personality. This is the process to make crayons natural so that babies can have them. This process is very scary and painful for the crayons, but it's good for the whole family. The crayons know that once they all get melted together, that they'll never be able to feel like themselves ever again. First, you steam off all the toxins into your home. Now that the crayons don't know who they are anymore, we're going to make them resemble something closer to one of his creations. At this point, the crayons have no choice but to accept their fate. They are in their plastic cocoon and they're about to become a beautiful butterfly. The crayon is mere steps away from being safe for a baby to play. When you take it out of the mold, don't break it, because if you do, it's the equivalent to if you did that to a human life. When your children see you spending all day making their crayons natural again for them, they'll know how much you really care. As you might have heard, they're coming to take away our crayons. So we've not only got to disguise our crayons, but we've got to ensure a way to have a constant crayon supply once the crayon economy collapses and the supply gets cut. We're gonna use a process that dates back thousands of years. It's gonna be a Noah's Ark type method. 40 days and 40 nights is nothing compared to an eternity without crayons. Here you see me filling future elephants with their lifeblood. They're gonna have to metaphorically board the ship so we can set sail towards a future where we have an abundance of crayons that are created naturally. One of them's the boy and one of them's the girl, and I think you can just tell which one's the which because it's obvious. They might be new to this world, but they're gonna have to start working on getting their family together because they gotta participate with the economy. As she has been accused, she has been found guilty. We originally believed she had been absolved of all sin, but rumor on the street is that she has committed an unforgivable deed. And it is for that reason that we will now forever alter her in hopes of a better outcome. These 4 crayons that will be liquefied with the accused represent 4 ways that I think she could be a better hardworking member of society. Her remains plus the additional redeemable qualities will then be divided by 2. This will create 2 bodies, 2 souls. They become the twin flames for what was once a singular mind, and it's been altered to be just more better and likable for everyone. The spirit of this crayon now gets another shot to perform well at life. Once again, my born-again crayons have brought peace and stability to the home. Thank you for watching. When you open a box of crayons for the first time, their new reality begins. This untouched crayon society is ripe for your influence. Do the crayons take pride in being the one that gets used the most? Or do they envy the ones that remain in pristine condition? These are not societal inequities that are going to exist in my new world. Their new world. The paper that shields their identity, stripped away, melted and reformed into a sphere, a much more natural shape. This crayon will exist in a much higher realm, completely unaware of its intended societal purpose. While her physical purpose may remain the same, her spiritual purpose is very different. Now lend your eyes as a new society is birthed. Everything smells like melting plastic. It's really the most beautiful thing that 2 human hands can do to crayons. When you feel like you're capable of anything, sometimes that's when it's time to stop and slow down and think about what your real purpose is. Chasing a career, going to the club, or texting my friends and family back are just things that divert me from my true mission. Recreating the Ark, Noah's Ark, it's something I do for my own salvation as well as all of yours too. Whether it be from the true apocalypse or just normal climate change, it's undeniable that the ocean will be knocking on my front door soon. And when she knocks, I want to open the door, and I'll welcome her into my home as she welcomes me into the sea. But I'm genuinely not stressed at all because I will have my ark. And when the seas part and land ahoy, the new world will be populated by only my passengers or people like Grimes that successfully uploaded themselves to the system. And she's gonna be like, please come find me and unfreeze. Your average box of crayons comes with a gluttonous amount of greens, so sit with me as we teach them a lesson that they won't soon forget. There are more variations of green than any other color in the box, and while the intentions may have been to reflect the colors of nature, there are nothing natural about these crayons. And that's why we gotta chop them up, we gotta break them down, we gotta melt them down, we gotta take away the sin before we can give them to baby. And if you know me, you know how it goes. We burn away the toxins, and then we form the crayons into a more natural shape. Baby's hand can only color upon natural paper, homemade natural paper. This is a good thing to do while the crayons are hardening into their natural shape. This is an added bonus for me because if you don't triple R, that's a one-way ticket to the bad place. Once the crayons are saved in this way, you can put them on display and no longer have to hide them. This can help alleviate stress in the home. If you let your kids play with the crayons right out of the box, you might as well say, I don't love you and I never wanted you anyway. Children deserve fresh, natural, homemade paper that tells them that mommy really cares. A crayon in its original form will poison the mind of a child. They must be rendered down into natural, organic shapes in order to enrich the child's mind and prove that you're a fit mother. These new colors I've created are not sold in the big stores. They're representative of the sanctuary of my home. This is what it takes. This is mothering. As my children grip these crayons in their little hands, it sends beams up to their brains that's naturally going to make them better than everyone else's children. But at the end of the day, it's all about me, because when I lay my head to rest, I get to know that I'm the best mom and that I win. Well, sorry, it's my opinion that natural homemade paper and crayons is what's best for my family. Does it make you a bad mom if you have low standards? No. It just definitely doesn't make you an exceptional mom, and that's what I'm trying to be when I make homemade paper. Homemade paper with the stamp of approval. If you don't learn how to make paper today, when are you gonna start? What is it gonna teach your kids if you always just buy your paper and your crayons from the store? It's gonna teach them, just ask for a handout, you don't even gotta work. You're basically saying, why reduce, reuse, and recycle when you could just be a bad kid instead? You might as well give them a coloring book with big thick lines and a box of store-bought crayons. My natural family lives free of those confines. My natural children are infinite. I'm begging that you watch and learn as I make homemade paper and homemade crayons, for which I suggest you do for your children as well, unless you want them to end up in jail, or worse. Surveys of America's child prisons show that 100% of children were given crayons right out of the box and forced to color on store-bought paper. This is unnatural. But we have a chance to rewrite the future society from the sanctuary of our homes. I have covered at length about how crayons are sinful and they must be rendered down into a natural form before giving to baby. But it's really the homemade natural paper that's gonna elevate you to the point of at least being able to be an acceptable parent. If you give your kid a coloring book, you're basically saying, go ahead, stay in the lines, or don't, it doesn't matter. You're telling them you don't need to be creative, don't even bother thinking for yourself.